Howdy hey everyone, and in the spirit of October, aka Spooky Month, aka Spooky Season, I felt like it is fairly justified to make a spooky special. Well, at least a secondary special. The main course is on track to come out on Halloween, so think of this as an appetizer. Either way, I think that everyone can agree that the ghost type is the spookiest type of all. Filled with all types of ghouls and shadow beasts, almost all of them are just a little bit creepy. So it doesn't seem too out there to make a Halloween special showcasing some of mine from my Fakemon region Celtica, based on Germany, and the surrounding areas. And seeing that Germany is famous for their pretty dark fairy tales, yeah, there's a lot of ghost types here. So today I'll show you 2 new lines as well as redesigning one Pokemon that I wasn't quite happy with. So without further ado, let's hop in. Okay. First, before I actually show you the designs, I want to try out something new. In previous videos, I would show my design process when drawing something, and even though it's great for adding to video length, it's just a pain to narrate. But I don't want to get rid of it because it is fairly interesting. So from now on, my design processes will be down in the corner, so you can watch it while I explain the origins. Just think of it like those Subway Surfers or Minecraft parkour videos. But with that out of the way, now we can start. So even though Celtica is primarily based on Germany, it does have a lot of Nordic elements to it, such as this Pokemon. Basically, in Nordic mythology, Odin rides upon a steed that I will not try to pronounce, in apparently an event known as the Wild Hunt. Also, apparently this horse had 8 legs, but I kind of forgot about that. But either way, it would be pretty fun to have a role reversal. Instead of a hunter horse, it would be a hunted horse. So it will have markings that are not unlike the highest scoring spots on a deer target. Yes, this is technically a horse and not a deer, but it's close enough of a comparison. Alright, let me have this. Anyways, this is Fultum, from Foal, a baby horse, and Phantom, a pure ghost type. These Pokemon are among the most skittish out of all of them. If threatened, it will gallop into the spirit realm to stay safe. Okay, so you know how I said I was gonna do a role reversal? Making the hunter horse into a hunted horse, like 30 seconds ago? Well, funny thing about that, it's not. Instead, it starts out as prey and then evolves into a predator. That mane will cover its eye, showing a much spookier eye over top, kind of like what Blood Moon or Selena did. It's mostly there for the spooky factor, but it also somewhat looks like a night vision goggles. Kind of. Okay, not really, but just let me have this, okay? It has skeletal looking legs, much like Tufix, the final evolution for my grass type starter, and a floating tail which expands to look like a machete, which is 1, a weapon fitting for a predator, and 2, used to chop down vines when exploring, at least in movies. A skill that would be useful for a predator. It also gives it a Grim Reaper or Horseman of the Apocalypse look. But here is Predatorse, from Predator and Horse, a ghost dark type. This Pokemon enjoys hunting other Pokemon, despite not needing to eat in order to stay alive. The eye covered by its mane is able to see perfectly in the dark, as well as through walls. The blade on its tail is able to sever body from soul. Okay. Now we'll make one based on a fairy tale, and not mythology. So I assume a lot of you are familiar with the story of Pinocchio. You know, the puppet that turns into a living puppet, whose nose grows when he lies. Yeah, that guy. I remember watching the Disney movie as a kid and being terrified because I thought I would turn into a donkey just like Pinocchio did. Childhood trauma aside, this sounds like a really easy design to make. And yeah, it was. Not even gonna lie about that. It's gonna have a log-looking nose and a leaf behind its head just to show the grass type a little bit more. Because, you know, it's made out of wood. It's gotta be grass type. It's also gonna have these holes on its hands and feet just to show how the puppet inspiration comes out even more. It's gonna be just an honest-to-goodness Pinocchio Pokemon. Speaking of, say hello to Popocanos. This might actually be one of my favorite names I've come up with ever. It comes from puppet, Pinocchio, nose, and is just plain out fun to say. Popocanos, a grass type. These Pokemon enjoy tossing nuts and seeds from high up in trees at people walking through the forest, making them quite the nuisance. While normally bouncing up and down joyfully in trees, sometimes large groups will stay completely still, eyes glowing green.
Oh, but Lincoln, that's not a ghost type, that's a grass type.
Just wait, okay? And to evolve it, well, to me it seems obvious. The puppet becomes the puppet master. The ghost type will be, from how it controls its puppets, is pretty similar to a ghost controlling its hosts via possession. Also, a puppet could be used to refer to someone who is being used by someone else, often without them knowing, for part of a plan. Kind of similar to how a cult leader uses its members, but I don't want to stay on the cult topic for long. I don't think YouTube would like it. Besides, that's Pokemon Insurgence's thing. Either way, it's gonna have crazy hair made out of leaves, much like a crazy man who has had nothing to talk to besides puppets for years. After all, puppeteers are often depicted as insane in the media. I'm just playing along with it. It's also gonna have a very sinister, almost mask-like face. Definitely the kind of Pokemon some sort of villain would use. So here's Puppetring, from Puppet and String, a grass ghost type. These Pokemon have the ability to take control of local Pokénos with its ghostly strings. It usually uses them to see through their eyes when Pokemon is entering their territory, but occasionally it'll use them to fight for Puppetring. It has a new ability called Wooden Conductor, which acts similarly to Poison Puppeteer, kind of, in which if a grass type is on the field when Puppetring enters the field, or if Puppetring enters a field while a grass type is already on there, said grass type Pokemon will be confused. Kind of like if it's controlling them, making them hit themselves. Very spooky, very possession-y. Now for the redesign, and since my first videos were bad, this redesign will come from one of those. Specifically my third video, where I made some regional forms and a single convergent form. In that video was also Celtician Phantump and Trevenant. Now, the Phantump was actually really good, even by my current standards. The problem was Trevenant. It looked off and nowhere near as imposing and intimidating as the Colossian Trevenant. I mean, it's kinda hard when it's made out of cake, but my point still stands. Either way, Celtician Trevenant is based on, primarily, Germany's favorite Black Forest cake. And, well, Colossian Trevenant is a tree. Black Forest cake. Made sense. It's also based on the story of Hansel and Gretel, with Phantump being the children and Trevenant being the witch. Also the witch's house, because it was made out of candy. That too. Now what to change? Well, for starters, the arms are way too small, so those need to be sized up. And then the weird blobby frosting. That has potential to look pretty cool, but it just looks way bad on this. And lastly, the colors. There are way too many colors. It's just, it's weird. Pokemon normally don't have too many colors unless they're legendaries, and even then, it's usually just like 5. I'm pretty sure this thing has like 5 or 6 colors on it. Now that we know what's wrong, here's the new and improved Celtician Trevenant, a ghost and fairy type. Trevenant wandered Celtician cities at night, finding lost and injured Pokemon to take care of, but will show no mercy to those who harm said Pokemon. Parents warn their children not to eat too many sweets, lest Trevenant takes them away. And that's it for today. I hope all of you enjoyed this extra spooky video. Before I leave, I just wanted to tell you, join our Discord. The link is in the description. Come on, it's pretty fun. But that's it for now. See ya, and stay safe.